残酷な天使のように少年よ神話になれ青い風が今胸のドアを叩いても私だけをただ見つめて微笑んでるあなたそっと触れるもの求めることに夢中で運命さえまだ知らない痛いけな瞳だけどいつか気づくでしょうその背中には未来目指すための羽があること残酷な天使の手で窓辺からやがて飛び立つほとばしる熱いパトスで思い出を裏切るならこの空を抱いて輝く少年よ神話になれ
Kaliningrad, a topic of uncertainty and controversy. This heavily militarized part of Eastern Europe is in a particular state where its future is somewhat uncertain. So, what is so important about this little piece of territory? In the 1200s, the Teutonic Order controlled most of the region of Prussia, and had the Livonian Order as a vassal. It was in 1255 when the city of Königsberg was founded by the Teutons. From their lands, the Teutons raided their pagan neighbors, converting them to the Christian faith. However, as the area decreased in pagans, some knights saw that they could plunder and raid nearby castles and villages in order to gain glory and wealth. Stój!
Ich überfalle dich jetzt.
Co? Naprawdę?
Ja.
O. Może nie. However, these unchecked knights ended up souring the relations between Poland and the Teutons. It all came ahead in the Polish-Lithuanian-Teutonic War, where the Teutons were the aggressor. Dla króla i kraju!
Gott mit uns.
After a disastrous defeat at Grunwald, the first Treaty of Thorn was signed, and the second in 1466. The Teutons now became a fief under the Polish crown, where their power kept diminishing every decade. In 1525, the Teutonic state secularized and became Protestant, under a new king and new name, the Duchy of Prussia. This new duchy was still a fief under the Catholic Polish-Lithuanians, but all was not lost. In 1618, Brandenburg throws the duchy a rope, and they enter personal union, ripping it from the grasp of the Poles, and now into the hands of the Germans. Many wars followed, and in 1701, Frederick I was crowned as the King of Prussia. However, our interest is not in the politics or the lands outside of what would be considered modern-day Prussia, as to make a large story much shorter. Alright, we will now be talking about World
Okay, von hier übernehme ich. World War II, the greatest conflict in human history, which led to the creation of so many issues and solutions to the world's current-day problems. By 1944, most of Prussia is already occupied. The last bastion of the Nazi defenders held up in Königsberg, which the Soviets laid siege to. Hans, schau. Was ist? Oh mein Gott. In that time period, over 2 million civilians evacuated the region, by land or sea. They fled. Once the Soviets broke through in 1945, they, in quote, raped and pillaged the city, and many took prisoners of war, leaving the castle in ruins.
No i jak ci się to udało, szkopie jeden? In the peace agreements, the Soviets carved out a region in Prussia and gave the rest to Poland. They renamed the city of Kaliningrad to Kaliningrad and renamed the entire province that while they were at it. Then, they expelled any and all Germans from the region, forced Russians, Ukrainians, Belarusians, and many more nationalities to inhabit the region. Kaliningrad during this time became one of the biggest headquarters for the Russian Baltic Fleet. Nothing much happened in the Cold War for this little region. It was relatively peaceful, but that would all change near the end of the 20th century. Finally,
Хорошо. Теперь моя очередь.
Nie kur...
The Soviet Union, unfortunately, collapsed, and Kaliningrad could well have escaped Russia's grasp. But they were an integral part of Russia at that point, and the Bear was not gonna give it up so easily. However, they are completely separated from Russia, as both EU and NATO nations that surround the oblast have a strict border with it, and they refuse to let Russia travel by land to the area, which makes Kaliningrad suffer economically. Какая сейчас ситуация? Мы окружены. Блин.
Naprawdę już mam dość, proszę. There are three possible options for the future of this oblast. The first option is nothing changes, and Russia keeps holding on to Kaliningrad until the death of the nation. The second option is for Russia to get desperate in the wake of another economic crisis and sell the oblast to another nation. This on its own can go several ways, but no, it does not mean Germany will buy the land. Germany has no intentions of getting Kaliningrad back under their control, not to mention the million multi-ethnic inhabitants of the area who probably would not be very accepting of German rule. The area might be split between Poland and Lithuania, as they have a better connection with these areas than anyone else in the Baltic. The third option is for Kaliningrad to become its own nation, either as an autonomous republic under the Russian government, or a full-blown independent nation. There would be a lot going for Kaliningrad if they were to go with the latter option, due to their advantageous position economically and politically. The ethnic Russian majority would likely align Kaliningrad with Russia, but the ethnic minorities might band together to have their own interest represented. The EU would not likely allow Kaliningrad in due to the fear caused by Greece's economic setbacks being a bottomless dumping ground for euros that have only hurt the assisting countries' economies without seeing any return. However, the EU would likely have close ties with Kaliningrad through trade agreements, the Schengen Agreement, and military basic rights for member states. The Kaliningrad Oblast will also regain control over their vast amber supplies, 90% of the world's that, since 2013, the Russian government has had total control over. Not to forget the oil found off the coast. Along with this, Kaliningrad is one of the most militarized regions in the world. The area is so heavily influenced by the Russian military that it makes up a small chunk of their economy, even though in 2009 the military population made up 2% of the region's population. Whatever happens to Kaliningrad, Russia will be a major player in how its future turns out, be it independence or continuous government control. Kaliningrad is Russia, and Russia is Kaliningrad. Kurde, ale dziadowski film. Co to cholery? Au, kurde!